to record this webinar. If not, you can tell us now. So thank you so very much for joining us here. And we are absolutely delighted to talk about Adobe Spark to you because it's my personal belief that Adobe Spark can actually bring in creativity in your classrooms. How and what are we going to do with Spark is what I'm going to talk about. Just in my last webinar this morning, this was what the image that we created within minutes using Spark Post. And this was, if you were there, you know that this was an existing image which we just, modified and personalized. So it's actually creating something within a few minutes and so easily that your students of any age group can do this and can make Spark post, Spark page, or Spark videos. I'm going to slowly talk about all the three as we go, and I am going to demonstrate a few also. But the whole agenda here is of creating this culture of creativity in your classrooms. We want to get into your classrooms and see how can we bring in creativity in the existing systems without really moving your curriculum, without really moving the way you are teaching. It's only adding to your platter, adding or giving you a choice and giving your students another platform to work creatively. Deep Pedagogics as a partner is also a learning partner with Adobe, and we bring their programs in education in both K-12 and higher ed, just the way we do for Microsoft in education to Indian market. I totally believe in this thought by Sir Ken Robinson. Creativity is certainly as important now in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. And I believe that if you have joined this webinar, you too believe in this thought. So, moving ahead from here, um, I'm going to show you a few examples of what I say when I say I'm going to use it to inspire my students. Now, character analysis is something that is done in every classroom. We use this especially in our language classroom, whether it's English, Hindi, Spanish, French, or whichever. Wherever we have a story, wherever we have something where we need to tell the world, we can do it in a very visually appealing way. So how can we visually represent a character? If you look at this character that is being represented here, this character is from Lady Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 1, line 57. What's done cannot be undone. Well, we all know and have heard of this line uh, every time when we talk about Macbeth. So, yeah, I mean, but how can we represent characters from Macbeth? Were such strong characters in a way which are visually appealing, which where students can actually think creatively. So the character sketches can be given in a way that students can work creatively and they can analyze a character's strengths, challenges, and motivations by drawing inferences from the details in the novel and relating this to um, certain imagery that is formed or the visualization that the way they visualize in their minds, they can actually portray those characteristics. If you look at this, there is money thrown into this character, which means this person is mindful of money and is very greedy. So when you look at this sort of an image, you immediately know that there is a reflection. There's a whole picture that is formed in your mind about this person, and it's easier. So what we do is we try and put these on display, and as the images are collected from all the students have to look at each other's work to identify which character or which characteristic or what imagery truly reflects what's going on and or what that character represents. So yeah, that's a very interesting way of doing it. And of course, tessellations. In every math classroom, we use tessellations. What about e-tessellations? Well, with e-tessellations, you can not only look at the permutation and combinations, but you can have multiple patterns. You can have multiple images with which you can play. So students can actually deepen and apply an understanding of transformation, including translations, reflections, and rotations while designing this unique tessellation, and they can represent tessellations as a way of conveying what's going on in their thoughts. We even do moods and feelings using tessellations. So show me your feelings, showing some pattern made using tessellation. So we've seen chaos, we've seen happiness, we've seen confusion, we've seen you know, following someone's thoughts. So we've seen multiple ways in which students have been able to express themselves creatively using tessellations. Visual biographies is another thing that we tried. In fact, we tried a combination. So, visual at one of our workshops, we did this. We gave them Mahatma Gandhi as our main, person about whom we would like to see a visual biography, and each person had to look at Mahatma Gandhi's life and think about how he has been as a person, his attitudes, his attributes, main events in his life. So you could pick up any piece of his life and depict it as either a Spark post or a page or a video. And the way teachers, and these were teachers, these were teachers from DPS Ghaziabad, and one representative from multiple branches that they have, and we had wonderful, products that were created and totally praiseworthy. Imagine if lab reports were to communicate, understanding of the students this way. I think we can just turn around our classes. We can bring in so much variety. We can bring in students, and we can actually engage students in a very meaningful manner so that they can actually record the whole journey. Because when you're in a lab, you're exploring, you're not only looking at an experiment happening, you're looking at so many things that are happening from the beginning to the end, where you reach a conclusion. So you start with hypothesis and you move on towards drawing a conclusion and confirming your understanding. So yeah, all of that is a journey. So if that journey can be captured in the form of a page or a video, I think it's going to have in-depth learning. So we can actually look at creating deep learning scenarios using Spark. Oh, here's something very interesting. And again, this was the extension and the combination that I was talking about. So what we did was something wonderful. First, we asked our teachers to create not only that post or page or video about Mahatma Gandhi, we also gave them an option to create a histogram. So which means that look at any piece of his life, and it should look like a post on Instagram. So how would you report it if you were in that year, and if you were to report this, how would you report? So just imagine the kind of in-depth thinking that the students will be engaged in. That creating this social media profile about that particular person, they have to demonstrate depth, understanding, or the knowledge of not only the character but also the moment, also the incident and the people around, or the way people received or rejected it, for that matter, or trolled it, if I may use that word here. So it's just taking your learning to another level, for that matter. Having showed you some examples, let me show you a few examples of what we did in classroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop now. And when you're able to see my desktop, it's loading for me now. And as soon as I can see it, I will go to the Spark page to showcase to you what we are doing. But in the meanwhile, I'm more than happy to take your questions if you have any so far. So I feel it's a little early, yet I'm happy to take any questions. I think the screen is now visible. So I'm here on this Spark page. I'm going to start from the scratch, and I'm going to showcase to you certain examples and also give you a demo. Then jump back into my presentation and see if I've missed out anything. So as soon as you say spark.adobe.com, let me give that link to you here. So it's spark.adobe.com. As soon as you type that, this is the page where you land, and you will be prompted to sign in using your Adobe account. And then, of course, you're ready to transform your ideas into stunning visual stories. These are some of the images that have been given to you, or some of the graphics that have been given to you. You may choose to work on any one of them, or draw inspiration from here, or maybe even start from the scratch to see what you want to create. So there's loads that you can do here. But the three main ways in which you can actually create a Spark is, if you click on this plus button, it'll give you those three options. One is an option of creating a Spark post, other is of creating a Spark page, and these are some popular ones that you can do. So if I scroll down the page absolutely at the end, then I can showcase to you what are the kind of varieties. So I'll go a little slow here. These are all the inspirations that you can draw from. So you could be using any of these graphics, and yeah, the flyer that you see over here, I've used this already in my classroom. Sorry, if you could please excuse me. Sorry about that. So I've already used this for creating something, and I'll just show you. And this really appealed to me. I really liked it. So I'll just showcase to you what I've made. I've also used this one. So they're very interesting stuff that, these are already made, and you simply have to just click on them. And, you could modify, you could put in your own text, you could change the background, you could play with the words, you can play with the layouts, you can change on the go also. So these are some of the products that are already available, but whatever I have made are available under projects. So I can actually get into, so this is my dashboard. Whatever I have created till now is all parked here. I don't know whether you are able to draw parallel or not, but this is that image that I was talking about, which are the one that I showed you. So I used that original image, and I reshaped or reworded it actually to this. So if you see, celebrating 101 years of me being on Earth, so we took something from here, which was originally a national park, reserve, which had given an advertisement, but we changed it into our own scenario simply by just clicking here, and you can edit, or you can even add or duplicate if you want. So this was one of the products, and then I want to show you. How we actually started. Of course, we were never, masters at doing this. So here's something that we. This was my one of my first creations. This is something very simple. Again, taking an original post. Uh, Here is what we did. So we were about to go on a vacation. I needed a post for my social media, so I jumped into this and I just created a kind of a post. Now this thought, or this the words here written here are all mine. I did not just take it from here. So I've just personalized that. So quite interesting to showcase how you can create different stuff, how you can go to the next level, by just doing something as simple as that. Uh, Let me now show you a lesson plan, because what works in our classroom and how this works in a classroom is very important to see. It's important for us to see how far we can take this product into our classroom and how will it actually work. So here's a Spark which I had created. I want to give you a little bit of background here, that I had about 2 hours of interaction or over 2 days. So 2 days, 2 hours each with the students, and we had to run this plan and get them acquainted with sustainable development goals, drive them towards one of the goals, and ask them to identify the problem and find a solution. So here's what we did. So we created a lesson plan here. Let me just show you the presentation here. When you present a Spark, this is what it looks like. Before this, what you were looking at was the design mode, or how you can actually work in a Spark post. So I'm just trying to give you various glimpses so that you understand what I'm doing, and you're able to take a glimpse of what it looks like when you present and what it looks like when you are making it. So we introduced the sustainable development goals like this. And this was a video picked up from YouTube, so you can simply just insert a link here and you can make it. And I'm going to give you a demonstration of that. And then we challenge our students into becoming goalkeepers. And was towards the end that we modified this picture. This was using post. As I move out of this, I'll show you where it was made, what was the original image for this, how we changed this. We are going to show you all of that. And we added more material. So I was teaching using this as a spark and challenging my students to create something using this. So as they were, trained on the SDGs, they then identified one SDG goal to work on, and they were supposed to find information about it, identify a problem, and suggest possible solutions for it. Uh, to help them focus, we gave them certain action ideas as to what all can happen. I'll just go into this and show you what I gave. And also, I gave them a Pinterest board of SDG goals. So if they would click on that button, as we call it, they would land on this page, which would give them information about SDG goals. So I'm not asking them to go and search on their own. I'm making them search in a way which is very guided, yet it has the freedom to choose from multiple sources. So there are multiple boards that appear. Sorry, I think it's the bandwidth that's eating up. But I'm going to jump back here and showcase to you. Um, so some action ideas. Now these are the buttons. So when you're creating a button, you can actually edit a button. I'll just try and show you. You can title a button and insert any link here. So this could be, again, your alignment is up to you, how you want to place it in the box. And then you save it, and this can be saved here as just a button. So it will not really show what you're doing, but it's already there and students can use it. So while I'm presenting, when I click on this, it'll take me to action ideas, right? So I have some action ideas laid out here for them. I created a kind of a link to this UN page where students from other schools, were working, and what are they doing, and how is it that you can excite your students, or what is it that you can draw inspiration from. So we inspired them using these pages. So if I'm able to convey to you what I'm trying to say here is that using this one interface, not only did I plan my lesson plan, but also I had all my students work here. We also gave them an exemplar, spark. What is it that we are expecting out of them? What kind of a spark should they have made by the end of it? So I made an exemplar spark to show them. At the end of it, let's say if I were you, I was working on SDG 1 and showing no poverty, I would expect you to put a video, put in some words showing your own words over there rather than copying and pasting them here. So you could be using various features built in. So if you see, the back image on the back stays and the focus changes as the words are sliding. I'll go again and I'll try and go slow. Now if you see, this is how a spark rolls. Let's say we need to say what our focus goal is. Our slide will rest here. Moment I make it go further, and it'll focus on the area. So I can actually focus in that same image. I can focus that when these words are displayed, this image should be in front of this whole interface, right? I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions. Okay, since this was blinking, I thought there must be some questions. So, unbelievable. Now, if you see the transition when I was here, what a shame is because these figures need to be reflected. When I move on to unbelievable, it draws your attention to 2 in 3 children grow up on less than 20,000 rupiah a day in Indonesia. It's really, really sad. So here's my problem statement. Again, all written by me. I've not copied this from anywhere. The student is supposed to write it. What can we do about it? Now, students can take this sort of an image. Again, this has been created in Spark Post and then introduced here. And here are some words that they have written in their own words. They are not actually copying or picking up from anywhere. They're actually taking using their own words to convey. Images have been taken from here and there to support their entire presentation. So this is the way we gave them an exemplar, and also you must see what they made, because it's important for us to see how students respond. Now, this was how we created for them. Let me try and show you this. So when I show this to you, this has been made by two students. So we had put students in pairs when they were working. And while they were working on this, by the way, the school has been made by students of GIIS, Global Indian International School, Noida. And these two students worked on need for quality education. Now, this post has been created by them. How I know this is because of this. There is Adobe Spark written here, and this is the image of one of the girls who has created. So they actually, this is such a simple image where a child is just writing on the board, blackboard. It's a simple image in a classroom if you look at it. But the special effects have come in because they have used a pre-designed post and embedded this picture in it, and it just transforms. I mean, it helps you tell your story in such a creative and beautiful manner. And I don't mind you giving me a thumbs up in the chat window if you're looking at it and if you're liking it, because these are some of the things that our students have created themselves, and we're very proud of showing them to you. Now, these questions have been made by them. Whatever was written here, the data, they understood, they read up stuff on the various websites and brought it here. Look at these images taken from the web, but this is how they have summarized what education in India looks like. Now, this is authentic learning. This is deep learning. They have read up much before they can actually write all of this. And look at another question being posed here. And to improve the quality, reconsider the true definition of good teacher. Now, you and me know this language they would have drawn from somewhere. But if you look at the whole website, it's not that they've copied from anywhere. I'll run this video. I'm not too sure if you'll be able to hear this music or not. But again, this has been made by Jennifer and Paki. Immediately as you see the Adobe Spark icon, you know this has been made on Spark. Now, if you see, they have taken clippings from an existing video. They have used some of these slides to write words of their own. So it's a combination of pictures, some pre-existing videos, and some text that they have used to make this whole video. But the good thing is, it has been created by them. It's not a made-up video from the web. So I think it's really wonderful. I love to appreciate this. So if you're watching this, if you have a link to this, you can certainly appreciate it to encourage these students that the way they have made is literally beautiful. I'm happy to share a link in the chat window if you'd like to see this. Um, Sharing is as simple as this. If you want to share it, you simply have to click here. This is already published, so I can copy a link. I can post it on Facebook, Twitter. I can even get into classrooms or email this to you or embed it on my website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back into our window and I'm going to post this here. I got a message that my voice is not very clear. Is that so? Am I clearer now? Can someone please give me a message in the chat window if I'm clear? Okay, thank you so much. I apologize for the bad voice quality, but I'll try and stick around very, very close. So here's what we made on Spark Post. I also want to share with you a video and I want to showcase to you how we made it. But before that, another lesson plan. So here's what we did. You know how comparative study is very difficult for students, and they get confused, especially plant and animal cell, land and sea breeze. So here's something what our teachers made to showcase. So look at the way the image is appearing, look at the clarity, and look at the way image rolls into plant cells. So you could literally roll up and roll down and literally compare it for your students, and you could be presenting. You could just present it to you how it'll look when you're presenting. Because again, I was in the making mode. So here you are. So this is your animal cell and you transform it into a plant cell, and you could be actually comparing the two or describing what they are. Here's another video from the web that has been picked up, and then we've embedded a quiz here for students. So since it's just a link, you could have embedded this quiz anywhere. So I have just picked it up from one of the websites where I really liked it. So you can pick it up either from a website. You can even use a Microsoft form link and embed it here, and the students will be able to answer. So you see how very connected this platform is, as connected as you want it to be. So one, not only can you track usage, you can even look at do assessment here, your formative assessments here or diagnostic assessments here, and you could actually be maintaining records because you've inserted a form, Microsoft form, and you will have record of what was made. Here's one more post for you. Again, my this is blinking. Let me see if there's any message. Okay, it's still breaking. Is my voice still breaking? Is it better? Okay, thank you so much. So here we are. This is what we created, and I want to show you this. I just want to show you what we made. So here's something. I did this Girls in STEM event, and I do that in multiple cities. So this is an existing video from Microsoft. So what I did was I picked up just about a clipping from there, put it here, and then added a few slides where this is a picture. So these are the pictures from the event that we did, and we inserted them here. And we created a video for our social media within minutes. It's super simple. Now that I'm here, let me show you how this is made. If you see, these are kind of slides that are available in Spark, and all you have to do is click on the plus sign. But what I'll do is I'll jump out, make a fresh video with you so that we know what I'm doing, and I'm just not, uh, you know. So you could be choosing between a graphic or a web page or a video. So I'm currently going to use video. There are some teaser videos and a slideshow if you would like to see or if you would like to draw inspiration from. There are multiple examples given here, or you could simply just start from the scratch. Let's say I'm doing an event and I could take this layout. So what this does is this gives me an idea about what my event promo could look like or what my informative video could look like, and I can start my own story. So here's what happened. Let's say Student Summit. 2019. Next, you've got to start from somewhere, so you better start from scratch. You could be doing here promote ideas, you could be taking any of these. You can view, or you can just simply rest your cursor here to see if you would want any of this. And you could wait to draw inspirations here, or even teach a lesson. So imagine you can teach a whole lesson plan over here, or simply just start from the scratch. And if you know me, you know me for this, that I like starting from the scratch. Bring me a blank canvas and I'll be able to do much with it. So it just takes a few minutes or seconds actually to make that canvas available to you, and then you're good to go. Meanwhile, I again see some comments coming in. Let me just check. Voice is still breaking. Okay, I'll try and stay close. I'm so sorry if this is happening. So this is how you're presented as you begin. So what you could do is you could either take a choice of formats from here to begin with, or you could just start from the scratch doing nothing. I would love to take a full screen, and let's say you could take a photo here or a video. Now, do you see how self-driven or how user-friendly this is? So let's say I'm going to take a picture, and it'll give me a choice to find a picture, or do whatever I am. So let me write Christmas. It'll give me multiple images of Christmas which can be used, and I could pick up any of these Christmassy images to just drag and drop over there, and it's good to use. Let me try and take this one. There you go. So it has loaded. Now what this gives me is, this gives me the freedom to add more. I can add my text to it. I can even add more stuff to it. Let's say I'm about to wish people Merry Christmas, and I could be okay. So see, it's very intuitive. It says you could drag and drop. So I could be moving my text here, and I could be increasing the size or decreasing the size as I want, and I could be playing around with this text by simply moving it wherever I would like to. And it also gives me, the kind of positioning that it needs. Also, there are various themes available here. I could be choosing between any of these themes or focus. If you see, each time I click, it's changing the look and feel of my presentation. So I could be choosing my theme options from here. Wow, this sounds interesting. So, and there you go. Too big, too big, too big. So let me try and lower it down. So let's see how it looks. Not bad. But I could go back to going into Flare because I really like it. So of course I can always do undo to go back to my last image, but here's what I can also do is widescreen or square screen. Okay, so you could have a square screen or a wide screen, and I know most of us are fond of making wide screens. So credits are already ready. Again, I can actually add my own credits thanks to whoever. So whoever has created, I can add more slides, and I can move them here or there wherever I want to place them. Let's say I want to place this one first and that one later. I could be adding more slides. Once again, playing around with them is what I can do. So I could be also adding a video here. Let's say I want to add a video here. Let me take an existing video. Let me take existing Adobe video. I have some videos here. Let's say I pick up this video. Now this is a very long video. So what it will do is it will give me a choice to pick up the piece of video where I would want it to, whichever piece I would want to pick. Let's say I want to not start from here. Let's start from maybe here to here. Right? Yeah, this is good. So let me save this. So what happened is it will seamlessly blend it in. So the transition is something that I don't need to bother about, and that will happen automatically. It's just a matter of a few seconds that it will save your clip and upload your clip. Once again, my screen is blinking. Let me check. Is my voice still breaking? I wish I could give you a better experience. I'm trying my level best to stay as stable as I can and close to my device. But I apologize for the inconvenience that is being caused. I wish I could help it. So I'm so glad, Ritu. Thanks a lot for giving me this thumbs up that you are attending via Neeraj Residi, and everybody, I hope, is able to get a gist of what we are talking and how we are working today. So, right now I'm using too much of my bandwidth because of multiple devices being used and also multiple platforms. So maybe because of that, but it normally doesn't take time to upload or to add a video clipping because I've just taken about a few seconds. But if what I'm trying to showcase is that I've only picked up 18 seconds of that whole 3-minute video that I was trying to take. So when I put it in my final piece, you will not feel as if it's been picked or trimmed and brought here. All of that happens on by itself, and I don't have to bother about seeing or doing any of that. But what I can do is add text on it, or add a voiceover on it, or add audio clippings on it. I can play around with the background or the layouts also using the same capabilities. If it doesn't happen for another second, I'm going to jump back into the classroom and sorry, Skype, and I'm going to pause here to check if there are any questions this far. So I'm happy to take your questions till that's loading. So if you have any questions, kindly just post them here. I'm happy to take your questions. This is taking a little longer than expected. So what I'm going to do is I've cancelled it. I'm going to pick up rather a small clipping. I have actually done 30 seconds on this and it doesn't take time. I apologize. I don't know why this is happening, but ideally it shouldn't. But what I'm trying to showcase here is a video, text. So if you, let's say, simply choose text, you could just simply say hello and leave it here. Add another slide and then again add maybe a picture to it. Maybe I don't want to pick it up from here and I would want to upload it from my existing images. So I could actually get into my pictures and look for an image to maybe insert here. So you can look at that image and you can insert it here. You can play around with how it's going to look like or resize it. I'm going to resize it to square again so that oh no, sorry, widescreen because I should have gone for layouts. So I'm going to go for layouts and I can change how it looks or how I can play around with this image or how I can not use maybe too many words and split it into two images. So while I'm doing this, if you see, I can even play with the duration. As in, for how long do I want this slide to rest? I could be deciding that from here. I was okay with 2. And let's say I want to preview it. It's going to look something like this. Uh, I hope this looks good. Yeah, it has automatically given some music also to it. I can play that music and I can change that music and I can add that video. I'm not doing that because video inserting was taking a bit of time and bandwidth. After making this, you can simply download this, upload it anywhere that you want, or simply just share it. So as soon as you say share, it'll give you a category it wants to pick because you need to say what kind of a video have you made because this should be available in your library. Let's say events, and I can subtitle it. And then I can say just all it will do is it'll create a link. And I love the interesting messages it keeps giving as it's preparing for us to, do certain things here. So the link will soon be ready. Let me jump back into our Skype window and see how we are doing and how we would like to take this forward. Any questions thus far? I'm happy to take. Yeah. So, please type your questions in the chat window if you have any. I'm going to jump back into my presentation and talk to you from there and see if I can showcase more to you. And I would love to hear where would you use this in your classroom while you're viewing this. I'm sure there are so many ideas that must come to your mind as to where all can you use Spark Post or Spark Page or Spark Video in your classroom. By now, I've given a demonstration on all the three, showcasing how you can work with a Spark post or a Spark page, depending on what your requirement is. Um, okay, I should have it. I already had this. So if you would like to carry this presentation with you, you may simply just download it from here. It's already available in the contents area, so you can download this. And also, I think I have also, okay, I haven't, but I will uh, give you a link to Adobe Digital Disha brochure so that you can download it and you can see and you can read the details of it. Voice is still breaking. I'm amazed. I mean, I've done multiple webinars since morning, but I haven't seen any voice break till now. It's very sad if that's happening right now. Okay, so this was one of the examples, or some of the examples that I showed you. Like I said, you could be using anything between a Spark page post or a video to create, your post and excite your students into creating something really exciting. And your everyday work can become so meaningful and impactful. And students are going to love because they can literally turn their ideas into social graphics, which they've always loved. The messages that they these days, are available on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Everybody loves the infographics that are available. And how do you personalize those is by using Adobe Spark. Here are some more classroom examples. So we can challenge our students by giving them a kind of a statement which says, I need to tell you about a dash so that I can dash. So you're using a noun and an action. And I find this very inspiring because it's so open-ended and it actually accommodates so much of you know so much of creativity. It has so many possibilities here. It's so open-ended that your students can actually take it in multiple directions. While students are working on any tool, they normally need a direction. If we leave them directionless, they can actually spend much more time than required because they do not by themselves know how to organize their work or thoughts in an organized manner. So layouts or formats like this really help because what you can do with this is you can give them slides, a planning sheet where they are basically planning how to make or what should be where rather than moving forward directionless. So I'm going to skip a few slides here because I've already spoken to you about it. But yeah, this is Adobe Spark is one of the most powerful tools for storytelling in the most professional manner. You could be conveying your thoughts, ideas, and your happenings around you, your events, your anything that is happening, or any ideas that you have, and you need to convey in a very creative manner. I think Adobe Spark just does the job. It just stands out of the box and just stands out of in front of any other tool to be one of the most creative and adaptive tool is what I would call it. Here are some more ideas of how you can use it in your classrooms, how your school newsletters can be made using Spark, and imagine giving such a professional look. And you could even assign it to your students and teachers also. I mean, they will not take time creating this. The whole crux is that when we have all the data, when we have everything in place, what eats up our time is formatting, layouts. How do I make it? How do I design it? I want to be creative, but if I could draw inspiration from something, nothing like it. So like it's a habit of mine. If I need to create something, what I would do is I would simply just go up on the web to see what can be made or what's possible, and then think of designing something maybe from the scratch, or take draw some inspirations from others and make it my own. So that make it my own is most important for me. And these are some of the ways in which you can just bring in that creativity or bring in that flavor in your classroom. Making a connection begin with introducing Spark in your classrooms. You know what we did? You're just on the brink of beginning your year, and you will want, sometimes you've shuffled the sections in your schools, and you want your students to know each other better. So what we used to do is what you could do is you could share a Spark link with your students, and they in a collaborative mode. So when you give them an edit option, they can edit along with. So what you do is you ask students to throw in some words that describe them best. So throw in one word that describes you best, but don't put your name. So every student does that, and then we ask other students to guess who do you think would have, written, would have in our class written this words? Who describes these words the best? So that's an interesting game to play with your students. What you could, of course, do is capture festivities using Creative Cloud. And ATL projects, prototypes, which cannot be really created in real life, you can use Spark to create those prototypes and projects and actually convey your whole idea using your Spark page or your Spark video. You could be recording your whole journey rather than only showcasing just the end product. So the entire premise of project-based learning can be based on Spark. Just the way I showcased you the SDG goals. Liquify feature for identification is super interesting. So what we do is if students you can take up student pictures at the beginning of every year. You get student pictures, you can liquefy those pictures and display and let students guess who's who, and they can actually they can familiarize themselves with their partners, their classrooms, their teachers, or even their objects lying in the classroom using this feature. So it's super interesting. um, Picture provocations, capturing current incidents or updates, very important, especially with so much happening around us. Elections right on the corner. Students are talking about whether we should vote for the current prime minister or not. There's so much that is going on in their minds. They hear it at their homes. So, to bring in those conversations, let's ask them to showcase what's on their mind using Spark. So that's a good way of, having an insight into what's going on in their minds. And then, of course, your school magazines, brochures, project and products, news feeds, every morning and every event, you can turn them into videos so simply. And of course, you can make the student learning journeys or your student portfolios based on Spark. I think should have sparked enough interest and curiosity in your minds, and I hope I've been able to give you a demonstration of how Spark can be used. I'm absolutely open to your questions, and I'm very mindful that I've overshot by 10 minutes, but I guess we started 10 minutes late. So I'm doing not that bad on time. I'm happy to take any questions that you have, and I'm going to pause myself here to see if there are any questions. Actually, you can unmute yourself and talk if you'd like to, because right now all of you have the rights to unmute yourself. It's really a pleasure to see that behind the scenes we have a whole room full of people sitting. Duita has shared with me images of her school teachers attending this, everyone sitting in one room. So thank you, Duita, for your leadership, and thank you, Sanskarwal School, Ghaziabad, for joining us today. Ritu has, on the other hand, multiple teachers sitting with her at St. Anandaram Jaipuriya School, Lucknow. So thank you so much for joining us today here. Uh, I I think we can close this session for the day. So thank you so very much for joining in. I'm still around if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great day and a really great weekend. If you have any questions, anything to ask or say, please don't hesitate asking right away or write to us anytime at the given. Here's our email ID. So this is our email ID. You may just ask. Yeah, Ritu, go ahead, please. Ritu, would you like to ask something? If you think it's not very clear, then you can even chat, right in the chat window. Also, not to miss that we also had Ajanta Public School Gurgaon attending this session with us, and I'm very grateful to you, Manju, and Webs for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you in our sessions anytime. Thank you so very much. I'm going to stop recording this, but I'm still around if you need to ask me any questions. Thank you.